Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of MTG Sin Senpai. So it's been a little bit of time since I've done a couple of my draft deck reviews. I've done a handful of drafts since the last video that I've recorded, and unfortunately, I only have two of them in front of me right now. But I want to do the pack or the draft breakdowns. I can't remember exactly where I placed. I know at least one of them I placed second. Otherwise, I would not have this. And then prize packs were they were regular draft packs, but I'm saving those for a different time. I do have some set boosters that I would want from other drafts that I'll be happy to open for everyone this evening. So let's start off with this first deck. I'm trying to remember. I can't. It's been a hot minute since this particular draft happened, but this is all the cards that I selected on the side, or this is the sideboard. Wow, I forgot the word for a minute there. But anyway, this is my sideboard for this particular draft. Picked this particular one up because it's decent white removal. Is it the best? Not at all, but it does help situationally, and it's something to work with. This one, I believe, was one of the last picks. I did not intentionally get stick with this, but you know, eventually when you get to the last couple picks, you got to pick something. So there's that. Plated Onslaught. This was an amazing pick. I like this uncommon a lot. Yeah, it's expensive for 5 mana to do the pump, but if you have enough affinity, it's just 2 mana to pump the team for +2/+1, which is insane. And in this particular meta, it's very easy to do. You got ourselves a Planar Disruption, which is a pretty decent removal. I believe I boarded this one out. I can't remember exactly why. I might have had more than enough removal, and that's why I took this particular one out. And then we got ourselves a Charge of the Mites. Yep, I had a lot of removal, I believe, in this particular deck, and so I had to cut some of it, just because certain ones are very powerful. But this one, yeah, it locks down your most things. But the fact that there's a lot of effects that either allow your opponent to sack the creature or allow your opponent to pick it back up. There's a lot of things to get around this particular removal, so that's why I cut one of these. Charge of the Mites is just an amazing white instant in this particular meta, be it either generating dudes or using it as removal. It's pretty decent, I feel. Meldweb Strider, I did think I was going to go blue originally, or at some point, and then I pivoted it to a different color. It's a decent 5 mana, 5/5 vehicle that potentially, it's okay. Is it the best? No, but it's kind of an annoying beater if your opponent has no answers for it. And of course, I had, yep, this particular draft pod, I had 3 of them. So yeah, and then especially if if you're proliferating a lot, you're able to essentially swing in with 5/5s every turn, depending on how many times you can proliferate. This is a pretty decent 2 mana 2/1 that whenever it attacks, it's the Artifact Matters kind of deck. I believe it's the Nozorius Artifacts Matters thing, which Plated Onslaught, and I'm sure you all see kind of a theme, at least in the cards that I selected. And so there's those. Gataxian Raptor is just a decent 3 mana 1/4 flyer. It's okay, and it does have the effect of whenever you do proliferate, you can get a little bit more extra damage in, so it's pretty decent. Whisper of the Dross, decent removal slash proliferate card. I got this mainly for the proliferate for 1 mana at instant speed, because I was thinking about doing a proliferate thing, but I went a different route. Feed the Infection is a decent draw card, especially if you have your opponent corrupted. You can also get them down with you. Another Whisper of the Draw, so pretty explanatory. Venerated Rot Priest. I happened to open this one, I believe. I'm trying to remember. Did someone pass this to me, or did they open it? Or I opened it. Regardless, I decided to pick it up because I was not in green originally, but I decided to hate draft it just because it's such a powerful card. And I decided I did not want to deal with it, so that's why I grabbed that. We got ourselves an Azuri Stalker of Spheres. Like I said, I was kind of doing the proliferate route originally, but kind of pivoted later on. Seachrome Coast. This one was passed, and if I recall, there weren't that many other better picks, so I decided to just get my hands on it because it's pretty. And we got ourselves a Surgical Bay. So as you can tell, I kind of was trying to go blue originally, but then I noticed it got cut off, so I decided to pivot into a different color. And so this is the actual deck itself. We got ourselves an Annihilating Glare. I believe I discussed it in a previous video, but it's just a decent 1 mana removal that, in regards to that planar, that the 2 mana pacifism, this is one of those cards that you could just sack the dude and use this instead, or artifact and use it instead, or you could just straight up cast it as a 5 mana kill spell, which I always forget that that's a thing, but you could totally just do that, which is decent. This is one of those Artifact Matters cards, which I like a lot. It's a 2 mana 2/1 that's got lifelink, so it's already pretty decent value. And the fact that there's so many things that generate artifact tokens or artifacts in general, that incidentally this can get pretty powerful and get win you games. This particular card is ridiculous, especially if you can get, if you have a turn 1 Skrelv and turn 2 this. I have been blown out by it because I had no removal. It was ridiculous. So it's totally a thing that can happen to you, so keep your eyes out for that. I really like the glider. I know that there are some people that don't like the glider, but if you don't corrupt them, yeah, it kind of sucks, but that you don't get that bump. But it is a 2-mana 1/3 flyer, which is decent evasion and a decent body. Slaughter Slinger, I believe this is the only card that is green that I splashed for in the deck because I had, it's just an amazing uncommon. 2-mana 2/2 is already pretty decent. The fact that it's Toxic 2 and it pumps your Toxic dudes every time they attack, it's pretty insane. So that's why I ran that. 2-mana 1/1 Flying Toxic 1. This particular one, like in every limited format, flying is always an issue for most players. If you don't have, or if you have some kind of evasion and your opponent has no answer, you can potentially just kill them with the flyer. And this one, you need even less hits to do it because it's Toxic 1. So that's why I ran that. There's our Planar Disruption, kind of self-explanatory. Offer Immortality is a fun, I consider it more of a removal card / battle trick, just because you can save a key creature and take out one of your opponent's creatures and kind of blow them out, which is pretty fun. Sheoldred's Edict is a nice, fun card. One of the reasons why I cut one of the Planar Disruption is because I had the Sheoldred's Edicts. I believe I had one, and then the Vraska's Fall as well. The fact that the opponents will be able to just sacrifice that creature, that's why I decided to not run as many, but I had that. Prophetic Prism, just a solid mana fixer. It's just a cantrip, I believe is the term, where you just play the card, it replaces itself, and it allows you to filter and splash for another color. Infected Flesh Cutter, I really like this particular equipment. Yeah, it's a little expensive on the equipment end, but let's say you put that on that Mandible Justicar, that makes it a 4/1, that whenever it attacks, it becomes a 5, becomes a 5/2 every time it attacks, because it's making a might every time it attacks with lifelink. So, and you don't even have to put it on the Justicar. There's the flying 1/1. Plenty of things that this card is just, I like it a lot, it's a strong uncommon, I feel. Chittering Skitterling, the name is goofy, and if you get corrupted, it's just card advantage, so that's why I ran that. Mana Fixers, I believe, yep, there's 2 of them in here. Definitely something that I probably didn't need to run both. I could probably have gone down to just one of them, but I like my Mana Rocks, so I ran that. Vraska's Fall, like I said earlier, just decent removal that poisons. Ridiculous, so there was 2 green cards in here. This is a ridiculous toxic creature. The fact that it can give any of your toxic creatures Death Touch for 3 mana, so that 1/1 might that your opponent chump block because of this, they might not do that. And the fact that it gives them extra poison whenever they hit, it's just a ridiculous uncommon. Yeah, it's a 1/5, but it just the amount that it pumps your team and just puts your opponent at a disadvantageous position is amazing. This is a 4-mana 3/4 that I really like. It feels odd playing this particular card, but it reminds me of Hero Bladehold to an extent. I do like the fact that it generates the mites, and that Battle Cry is beneficial in the long run, so decent creature. 4-mana 3/4 that makes mites, just self-explanatory, decent card. 4-mana 2/4 Menace, I think I discussed it in a previous video. It's a decent, like, initially I was kind of skeptical because of the Toxic 2 and all that, and the Menace, it's a 4-mana 2/4, but the fact that it has Toxic 2 makes it insane, and then the Toxic kind of payoffs that I have in the deck makes this attack for even better. So there's that. The Paladin is actually a pretty decent recursion for most of the deck. Most of the deck, like, especially like the 2-mana, the green-white creature, like, if it gets killed early, you're able to get it back with this, so that decent recursion. We got ourselves a Kaya in this particular deck. I was already black-white originally, so I didn't even have to splash hard for this, and it actually did help out a lot. It's just a pretty decent Planeswalker, but hitting those color pips and casting it, it's hard unless you're already in those colors. I ran one of the Plated Onslaughts. I had 2. I only needed 1, because you shouldn't have to cast this more than once to end the game. Got ourselves a Vat Emergence. That's a decent proliferate card that can grab any creature, because it says put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield. So you could grab any big old creature that's in a graveyard. White Sun's Twilight. This was pack 1, pick 1, I believe. I mean, if you're ever pack 1, pick 1 and you see this, you pretty much just go white. I don't see any reason why you don't go white. It has too many abilities that's just too good. Early game, yeah, it doesn't pay off as great, but if you have the late game, the board's gunked up. Play that for at least 5. You wipe the board, you gain some life, and you just have a 2-turn clock for your opponent essentially if they have no answer. Ridiculous card. And then one Basilica because I didn't have any others in the proper colors. So that was that particular deck. I can't remember how that placed honestly, but because I had the White Sun's Twilight, that's why I decided to go white for sure. Here's the second deck for you guys. Excuse me. Starting off with the sideboard, we got ourselves an Enforcer. Not that great. Flensing Raptor is an amazing 3-mana 2/2 toxic flying creature that makes one of your dudes on the ground even more powerful. That double striking toxic creature. Turn 2 you play that. Turn 3 you play your Flensing Raptor, swinging for 4 damage and 2 toxic. Pretty much almost always guaranteed. I'm sorry, can't guarantee because your opponent might have a flyer or might have an answer, but more often than not that thing's going to get in and it hits hard. Prologue to Phrenesis, it's a pretty decent draw card that allows you to poison your opponent. This particular 1/1, I really like it. The fact that it's a flying vigilant 1/1 allows you to swing in with it, and then if your opponent blocks it, I mean, you don't care, you draw a card, and then if they don't block it, you have a blocker on your end that lets you draw a card. So it's pretty decent. And the Strider, once again, kind of I already explained. Blade of the Shared Souls. I know there's some people that don't really like this card. I personally enjoy it a lot, just because there are certain value creatures that if I had equipped this onto, it makes it insane. Like, there's the 5-mana 4/4 Toxic Haste creature that you can just equip a Rebel and turn it into a 4/4 Haste creature and swing in. It's pretty gross. Vran is a fun aristocrat style creature that I decided to just grab. I thought originally I was going to go with some blue and black, kind of kept my options open, but I did not go with them in the end. Whisper of the Dross, once again, that's it's. I think this particular time I grabbed it as a removal with the Proliferate. Obviously, there's there. Nahiri Sacrifice is a decent removal card that you do have to kind of build around a little bit. Unfortunately, I didn't run that particular one. Adaptive Spore Singer is a pretty crazy ETB, either proliferating or pumping a dude and giving it vigilance. That vigilance is insane, and the fact that it has vigilance as well, it can cause battle tricks to be annoying. Skull Bombs are self-explanatory, they're just good. I got myself a Tyvar in this particular draft pool. I did not run it in this particular one. Got ourselves a couple Surgical Phase. So those are all the cards I didn't run in this particular draft pack. This card I ran, it's a decent 1-mana 1/2 that I unfortunately did not get to do the secondary ability of sacking it to draw or refill my hand essentially. Unfortunately, I don't think it just never popped off. So it's a decent card though, especially if you get it turn 1 and then just keep on playing things. And if you have an empty hand, just blow it up and swap it. It's not that bad. Hex Gold Slash, it's just insane. There's so much toxic in the set that more often than not this is a 1-mana deal 4 damage to something pretty constant. Freed from Flesh, initially I was kind of looking down on this, but the fact that it gives +2/+2 and that oil counter, the red-green oil deck is actually a pretty strong deck type in limited, and so if you're able to get it off, I mean, this thing can make the I believe it's Evolved Automaton, I forget what it's called. It's the 1-mana green, enters the battlefield with a single oil counter, and it gets +1/+1 for each oil counter. If you cast this on that, that's an automatic +4/+4 until end of turn, and then it becomes permanently a 3/3, not including any other creatures that you get to make it bigger. It's insane. Gleeful Demolition, I really like this card. The fact that it's versatile in the sense that you can either sack something on your end to make more 1/1s, or you can just blow up an artifact for 1 mana. It's actually pretty strong, I feel. So I ran that. Prosthetic Injector, just because it's a +0/+2 equip 1 for 1, or it's a 1-mana to play, 1-mana to equip. The +0/+2 is initially why I ran this particular one, but the fact that it gave Toxic 1 as well actually did help battle math in a couple games. So there's that. I really like this regardless. Decent common, and the fact that it allows you to rummage, and definitely helps in overall. Solid, or it's not the best, but it's a decent just an artifact removal answer. There are certain artifacts in this set that are just insane, and if you leave them unanswered, I believe it's called Urbask Forge. Insane artifacts that if we have no answer for it, So this is just a 2-mana 2/2 bear that potentially you can just use it to sack either a goblin or itself to get rid of a problematic artifact. Prismatic or Prophetic Prism, self-explanatory cantrip that mana fixes. This particular golem I really like, especially because in the oil deck you want it to, if you have this in play, all your oil creatures come in with more oil and they get bigger. It's a pseudo lord, funny enough, so it's actually pretty decent. We got ourselves a Bladegraft Aspirant. The fact that it makes your equipment spells cost 1 less as well, decent 3-mana 2/3, and then equipping itself, it's a 3-mana 2/3 menace is already pretty decent, and the fact that the equipment archetype is another strong one, the red-white one, and yeah, this is one of those creatures that if you can get your hands on them, they're dumb. This one, so you're never going to really see that secondary effect go off. It was just a 3-mana 3/3 menace creature. It's pretty much what I ran that one for. Migloz is one of the big reasons why I went red green. It's just, if you see this card, don't pass it, just run it or hate draft it, because more often than not, when this hits the board, it's just so hard to deal with, and it has so many options to deal with most things. The fact that you can pump it, the fact that you can give it vigilance and menace, and the fact that you can blow up artifacts or enchantments with it, it's just everything built in one creature, and it's a 3-mana 4/4, so it's ridiculous. This one was to kind of get in and finish games. I believe I had 2 of them. Yeah, I ran 2 of these because I like it myself personally. It's a 3-mana 3/2 that's okay, and the secondary ability that allows you to target creature not able to block is pretty absurd and helps you to win certain games. Bladehold War Whip. Insane equipment that gives any creature double strike, and the fact that it lets all your other equipment equip for less and cast for less. No, activate less. But regardless, it's a 3-mana 2/2 double strike that you can, if your creature dies, you just move it over to something else. Insane equipment. Rebel Salvo, powerful removal. Even if you don't have equipments in your deck, the fact that it's 3 mana, instant deal 5 damage to any creature or planeswalker, it's pretty dumb. And the fact that it takes care of indestructibility as well, so pretty decent there. Got ourselves an Urbrask Anointer. If you're doing the oil route, which I didn't have too much oil going for me, but if you have enough going, it's actually pretty decent removal. Chimney Rabble, the 4-mana. It's a 4-mana, makes 4 power on 2 bodies, and the body itself one body has haste. It's a decent value creature, that's why I ran it. The Volshark Splitter, it's a pretty decent equipment card. As you can tell, I had kind of the equipment sub-theme, had 2 of them. Got ourselves a Koth, as I'm sure y'all noticed. I was primarily in red in this particular deck, and so whenever I did get Koth to go off, I actually was able to ultimate him one game, and yeah, it was just a clock for my opponent. They had no answer for it. Koth is ridiculous if you're primarily red. Furnace Strider, it's a decent 5-mana 4/5 that gives itself haste and something else haste if you really need to. Sylvok Battle Chair, ridiculous 6-mana. It's an equipment version of Colossal Dreadmaw, essentially, that you can move over to something else. Yeah, it's double green pips. I did actually was able to cast this a couple of times, so not too bad. Got ourselves a Molten Rebuke, decent. Oh my goodness, the number of times that this is actually 2-for-1 to me has been insane, but I was able to 2-for-1 an opponent as well, so yeah, that's pretty strong. And we got ourselves a Sackland, and luckily I got myself a Mycosynth Gardens. I feel like this card is just going to continue to climb, especially with commander decks and all that go out there loving this particular card. And then I think there's a couple decks in Modern that might be doing something with that, if I remember correctly. Amulet Titan, I believe, is the one that's primarily using it. It's just insane. So before we go into the set booster packs, I want to jump into this promo pack, see whoever get lucky and gets the code in this middle part of the video. See if we get any lucky cards in this particular one. So our rare is a Argenta Massacre. It's not too bad. I have like 10 of these, so it's okay. This is my only one with a stamp on the side, so there's that. Oh, that's amazing. That's a Bladehold War Whip. I really like the way that looks, so I might be building an equipment deck with that. And we got ourselves a Mishra. So this is the fun Mishra. So just the fact that all of your stuff has ward, sacrifice, or permanent is ridiculous. Got ourselves our arena code there for my loyal fans. I know there's not too many of you, but there's someone that keeps getting these, so best of luck to your pulls in this. Hopefully you get something amazing. And then we got ourselves a few set booster packs. Here's hoping that we get something insane in these as well. But yeah, I know. I'm sure everyone has been on top of the March of the Machine spoilers that have been coming out. I am super ready for this next set. I am super excited. I just can't. I'm like, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to it myself. Got ourselves a foil uncommon. That is our rare. It is okay. I got a handful of these myself, but that's pretty decent. I think this might be a card that some people I can entice to build some commander decks with. And then we got ourselves our commons and uncommons. Nothing too crazy in our land. So go ahead and set some of these to the side. There we go. Alright, got 3 more packs to go. And then yeah, I'm super looking forward to the excuse me. And that next set, like I said, oh look at that. That is a foil Koth. So there we go. That's not bad. I really like. I will admit I was initially skeptical about this particular Koth, but I actually like it a lot. It's a lot of fun, I've learned, and we got ourselves a Copperline Gorge. So there's our 2 rares, and that's a double rare pack, which is always nice to see. Got ourselves our commons and uncommons. One of the best white removals, by the way. Insane, stupid enchantment. Yeah, drawback is you enchant your land, but it's not really that big of a drawback because most people just lose track of it anyway. Ooh, and we got ourselves a double foil pack. We have a foil land in that particular pack as well, so lucky pack, nice. Alright, got 2 more packs to go. Got ourselves the Blade Hold art card. Got ourselves a token, Might token, foil surgical array. Oh, look at that. That is a Nahiri. That is awesome. So we got ourselves a nice mythic right there. I don't even know what this card is valued at, but I like this card a lot. Myself personally, I don't have any particular decks that would run it just yet, but I know I'll figure something out. I mean, the red-white equipment has been a thing for a while. I just gotta slap it together and figure something out. Gotta point out, I love me my H.R. Geiger lands. Need to get me a full foil playset of all of them. And then I still haven't gotten my hands on any of the bundle completes. I'm at this particular point, I don't think I'll be getting it, but it is what it is. If I do find it, I mean, I'll be happy to share. And our manga versions of Jace art card, commons and uncommons. Got ourselves a Might token, foil Hex Gold Slash, not too bad. There's that. We got ourselves a Melira. I believe there's some people doing something with this. I have like 12 of them in pretty much every variant with every foiling. So if anyone's interested, let me know. I can find you that specific one. I'll be more than happy to get it for you. We got ourselves a Cultivator and our commons and uncommons. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much again for sticking around. Thank you for being so patient and waiting for my videos to come out. I've been kind of bad. I will be trying to get more going, and but yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And I think, do I have another one of these? Oh, yep, I do. I have another code I'm going to give out right here. It's from a pre-release pack. I was doing a little bit of cleaning, and I have a handful of these to give out. So look forward to these. If you, I'll be surprised slipping them into some videos. This one was from, where's this from? That's Dominator United. Wow. So this was from a hot minute, but there's that for everyone, whoever gets that as well. But thank you again, everyone, for sticking around to the end. It is appreciated for anyone that does get to the end of the video. I do appreciate you guys. Please take the time to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'd be looking forward to every comment that comes by. Take the time, and I do apologize for the sound quality in my previous video. I had messed with my mic, and I guess I messed it up. Here's hoping that it's a lot better for this video. If it's not, I'm going to continue to make adjustments. I hope I did this right this time, and I mean, I've already opened everything, so it's a little hard to kind of reshoot. But thanks again, everyone. Once again, never forget, Senpai didn't notice. Good night.